The system that we exist within is corrupted capitalism, and it is not a departure from colonialism, it is its continuation by other means. The mechanism is the same: establish legal ownership of land, control its resources, and make it illegal to deal with anyone except the entity that holds that title. What changes is the costume. Empires become corporations, colonies become markets, flags become brands, and just as sponsored influencer has sold their loyalty to a label, government that serve capitalism over people have become brand extensions of the regimes that fund them, accountable to shareholders, not citizens. This architecture of extraction runs deeper than any single company or country. Banks lend money that does not exist. Corporations file bankruptcy to erase obligations, while the individuals who extracted the profits walk away clean. Because a company can own a company can own a company, and liability evaporates at every layer. Private equity enters profitable businesses, cannibalizes them for maximum short-term return, then files bankruptcy rather than honor what it owes. Utility companies and insurers operate on the same model: borrow credibility from the public, charge the public for access, and when forced to answer for damages, claim insolvency. The people who pocketed the money are untouchable. The people who were harmed get nothing. The seed patent model goes further than owning the plant. Corporations have engineered seeds that are genetically programmed to become sterile after a set number of generations. A farmer who once saved seed from a good harvest to plant next year now has to buy again. Every season from the same company. The biological act of reproduction, the most fundamental future of agriculture, has been converted into a subscription. This is the same logic applied to every resource they can reach. Find something people need, establish legal control over it, make all other routes illegal or impossible. Nestle does not sell water. It extracts water from local aquifers, often in communities experiencing drought, bottles it, and sells it back. The water was there before them, it will be there after them. They simply got there first with the rights permits. The same structure governed cacao in West Africa, lithium in South America, cobalt in the Congo. A corporation secures the legal rights to a resource. Local trade with people who actually live on that land become illegal or is made practically impossible through regulatory and economic pressure. You cannot buy cacao from the farmer who grew it. You buy it from the company that purchased the right to stand between you and the farmer. The resource does not move differently. The people extracting it are paid the same poverty wages. The only thing that changes is who captured the margin, and it is never the people whose land it came from. The displacement of local farms is not market competition, it is a campaign. The goal is to remove every alternative until the corporation is the only option left. When you cannot grow your own food, when the small farm down the road has been priced or regulated out of existence, when your neighborhood has a pharmacy on every corner and no fresh produce within 3 miles, you are dependent. That dependency is not a side effect, it is the product. Corporate food is not about feeding people, it is about owning the feed. And with that ownership comes the power to define what food even is. We are handed iceberg lettuce and high fructose corn syrup and trained to call it eating. The dandelion in your yard is weed, the purslane cracking through the sidewalk is a nuisance. The fact that both are edible, nutritious, and free. That purslane contains more omega-3 fatty acids than most fish is not advertised, and it never will be. And it goes beyond defining what food is. The system also gets to define what medicine is. Cabbage leaves applied to an inflamed wound draw out infection. Turmeric reduces inflammation. Garlic is a documented antimicrobial. Willow bark is where aspirin came from. These are not folk superstitions. They are the pharmacopoeia that kept human beings alive for thousands of years before a patented system existed. But you cannot patent a cabbage, you cannot charge a copay for a dandelion. So instead, that knowledge is quietly classified as unproven, unfounded, or outright dangerous. Holistic and plant-based approaches are not disproven, they are systematically denied. Institutional legitimacy, because legitimacy is controlled by the same industry that profits from the alternative. Every generation that loses its grandmother's remedies becomes more dependent on a prescription. That is not coincidence, that is inheritance being replaced with a bill. The loop that ties it all together is this: create or worsen a condition, sell the treatment, never cure it, profit indefinitely. Processed food is engineered in labs to override the body's satiety signals, calibrated combinations of salt, fat, and sugar designed to maximize repeat consumption. The chronic illness that follows is not an accident. It feeds directly into a healthcare system where insurance functions as a toll booth between you and survival, where pharmaceutical companies price drugs that manage conditions rather than resolve them because a cured patient is a lost revenue stream, and when hospital bills the uninsured at rates 3 times to 10 times what insurance pays, driving the very people to the food system sickened into bankruptcy. Student loans hand debt to 18-year-olds that cannot be discharged in bankruptcy, the one exception to the shell company escape hatch that applies only to individuals and never to corporations. Payday lenders and rent-to-own schemes extract from people who cannot access traditional banking. Private prisons are paid per bed filled and have lobbied to fill more of them, criminalizing the poverty that the rest of the system produced. Each node feeds the next. The same population that was underpaid, underfed, undereducated becomes at the end of the pipeline a literal commodity. When a commercial comes on, the right question is not what are they selling, it's what are they trying to make me feel. Watch them with that lens and the pattern is immediate. They are on your side, they understand you, they've been waiting for you, no one else does it like they do. The language of friendship, family, and loyalty is borrowed and weaponized to make a transaction feel like a relationship. But a company that spends millions of dollars to appear on your screen during dinner is not your ally, it is a parasite that has identified you as a host. The commercial exists because you are worth more to them than it costs to make. You are the product being cultivated. And if you are not paying attention, it works. Repetition does not need your consent. A brand name heard enough times becomes familiar, and familiarity feels like trust. By the time you are standing in an aisle making a choice, the commercial is already voted. You reach for what feels known without remembering why it feels known. That is not coincidence. That is the entire investment paying off. What makes this worth real anger is who many of these brands are. The companies with the most polished ads, the catchiest jingles, the most heartwarming holiday commercials are frequently the same entities cornering food supplies, lobbying against worker protection, fighting environmental regulation, and extracting wealth from the communities they claim to serve. The more a corporation needs you to feel warmly toward it, the more carefully you should look at what it is actually doing. Likability is not innocence, it is a budget. This is not a series of failures, it is the design. A healthy population does not generate profit. People who are paid well, eat well, and housed and educated do not remain dependent, and dependency is the product. Medication synthesized from the plants that once grew freely has been patented, bottled, and priced. Food deserts are not accidents. Underfunded schools are not oversights. You do not hand a population the tools to dismantle the system that feeds off of them. The education we receive is precisely as good as those who benefit from our confusion want it to be.